Now let's work on this case study. Objective of the case study: to analyze the performance and trends in health administrations over a specific period. This is the data of the case study, right? So this is the data we are coming to analyze. Okay, the data is in the text form, right? In the text format. And this is the description of the columns, right? So we have 9 columns here. We have patient ID, the admission date, the discharge date, the age, gender, diagnosis, treatment, type, length of stay, and the outcome. It's 9 columns, and these are the description of each columns. And this is the analytics question, right? The question has been grouped into 3, right? Good. We have the first one, patient demographics analysis. Then we have admission and discharge trend. Then we have the outcome analysis. Under each section we have three subsections under it. So when you take the patient demographics analysis, what is the distribution of patient by gender, by age and gender? What are the most common diagnoses among different age group? How does the length of stay vary by age group and gender? Right. Go to the second section too. We have how do patient admission and discharge trend over the month in the data set? Okay, and so on. So we have 3 sub questions under each section. Now let's go to Power BI. Good. Now here we are coming to import the data into Power BI. So this is our data here, and it's in the text format, and we wanted to import it into Power BI. Okay, so here we go to get data, then we look for test/CSV, because the data format is what is in the text form. You select it, then here you navigate through your files, right? Good. So this is the name, this is the data. So I'll select it and click on open. Good. So this is the preview of the data So here we will extract months from the admission date and then the discharge date, right? So let's do this one in the Power Query editor. So here we click on transform to open the Power Query editor. Now this is the Power Query editor, right? So here the admission date, we are extracting the month from the admission date. So here, and we want it to be in a different column, right? You wanted to create a different column for the admission month. So you select the admission month, the admission date, then you go to add column. So any activity here will add a column, will create a column for you. So go to add column, then you click on date. Then here you go to month. Here we are interested in the name of the month, right? So we choose name of month. Then here you can see the apply steps. Inserted month name. So you can scroll and check. So this is the month, right? We have extracted this month from the admission date. So here let's change the month name. So double click on the column name, and then let's rename it admission month. Good. You do the same thing for the discharge date. So here you select it, then go to add column, then month and the name of month. Good. Then here you have it here. So you double click on it and then you rename it to discharge month. Okay, so this is the small transformation we wanted to do here. Okay, then let's go to home and then click on close and apply to take you to the report view. Okay, so our data has loaded into Power BI. So we have our table here, which is admission. You can click on the drop down to see all the field here. You can go to the table view to see the table. This is the table we have here, right? So here you can go through the data to see more details of the data set, right? So here, now let's work on this date column, because a question is asking for age group, right? So we have, how does the length of stay vary by age group and gender? So here, let's group our age into 4, right? Good. So here we will do that with the help of the data group. So we select the data group, then click on new data group. Good. And here by default it gives you a name, which is age beans, right? Age into bracket beans. We don't want this default name, right? So let's clear it. And then let's add group to it. So age group, and then the bean type. By default, Power BI is able to group the beans for you, which is 9. So the whole column, it has grouped it into 9. Now we wanted to do our own grouping, right? So the grouping type, we will change it to list. Now we have all the unique values here, right? The unique values in the age column, we have it here. So here we are coming to group this age into the various age groups. Now I have four types of age groups here. I have the child, which is from 0 to 12 years, adolescent 13 to 18, adult 19 to 59 years, and senior adult 60 and above, right? So we are coming to group this age into what? Into this various age groups. Okay, so let's start with the child. So from 0 to 12 years. So 0 to 12 years, here we don't have 0. Our age starts from 2, right? So here we will select all the age here from 2 to 11. Then we click on group. Then here we will rename it to child. Good. And then from 13 to 18 is adolescent. So here too we also select from 13 to 18. So we have 13, 15, 17, 18. Then here you click on group. Then you change it to adolescent. Good. Now you have changed it. Then we have adult 19 to 59. So here you start from 19 to 59. So you select all the age here up to 59. Good. Now we have selected it. Then click on group. Then here double click on it to change the name adult. Good. And then from 60 and above is senior adult. So you come here 60 and above, starting from 60 to here. So here you select the whole thing, then click on group, then we change it to senior adult. Good. So here let's see our groups. Good. So this is the groups we have created. We have child, adolescent, adult, and senior adult. Then click on OK to create the group for you. So this is the group, right? It has added a new column, right? Age group, and here you can also identify it here, age group. Okay, now let's go to our report view. Let's answer the first question. What is the distribution of patients by age and gender? So we will use a bar chart for this particular distribution. Okay, so let's use a star column chart. Let me position it here, expand it, and here the age group will go to the x-axis, and then the patient's ID will go to y-axis, and the legend gender will go to the legend. Good. So this is the visualization for the distribution of patients by age. Good. If you don't like this particular chart, you can change it by clicking here to change the chart for you. I think this chart is okay, so let's stick to this chart. Okay, now let's format this chart. So you go to the format your visual, then here the x-axis, we will increase the font of the x-axis to, let's say, 14, make it bold, and then you come to the y-axis, we also increase the values to 14, and then we also make it bold. Good. Then we wanted to position this legend here, right? So here we come to the legend, then the options, then we click on the drop down, then we change it to top left start. Now let's change it to top right start. Good. Now we are positioning the legend here, right? We position it on the options. Then let's scroll down to text. Let's increase the font of the legend, and then let's make it to 15, and then let's make it bold. Okay, then let's work on the title. So we go to general and then title. So the title we increase the font of the title, and then we can make it bold. and then let's make it centered. Good. And then let's move on to effect, and then let's make rounded borders, and then let's position the rounded corners to, let's say, 20. So here, this is the rounded borders, right? Okay. Let's also increase the font of the x-axis, the title, and then the y-axis to the title. So go to we select it, and then we go to format your visual, and then the x-axis, go to title. Here the title text is okay for us. You just increase it, make it bold. Okay, let's do the same thing for the y-axis. So you go to the y-axis, and then the title, we increase it, and then we make it bold. Okay. Now let's change the background color of the chart. So here we go to general, and then we go to effect, and then let's change the effect. We go to background color, and let's change it to black. Good. And then the transparency, let's adjust the transparency. Okay, so let's make it 90. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. What are the most common diagnoses among different age groups? So let's use the stack bar chart. So here the x-axis, the age group will go to the x-axis, and then the y-axis will be the patient ID, and then the legend will be the diagnosis. Good. And here let's select this chart, the first chart, and then let's go to the format painter, and then here you see this brush here, you place it here. Good. So that the second chart will pick the format of the first chart. Now let's move to the last question under the patient demographics analysis. How does the length of stay vary by age group and gender? So this question, we will use the clustered bar chart. Good. And here the age group will go to the x-axis, and then the length of stay will go to the y-axis. Then the legend will be the gender. Good. So here let me position it somewhere here, and then let me select this chart and go to format painter, then change the format. You can reposition your charts like mine. Okay, so here let's add text box, some text to our chart to describe that this is patient demographics analysis. So here you go to text box. You have text box here. Let me position it here at the top here. So this one is the title of this particular dashboard. Okay, and then let me name it patient demographics analysis. Good. So here, let me increase the font size. So let me highlight it, then go to font size. Now increase it to, let's say, 20. Okay, let me do it to 20, let's say 24. Okay, this is cool. Okay, then here let's change the background of this particular title here. So you select it, then you go to the effects, then the background, let's change it to, let's say, black, and then let's adjust the transparency. I can write it here, let's say 90. Good. Let me position it here. Okay. Let me also rename the page, right? So here I'll double click on the page, and then I'll type demo graphics. Okay, so we are done with the first part of the question. Now let's move on to the second part of the questions. So the second part of the question, we create another page. We will do it in a new page. So the second part is admission and discharge trend. The first question: how do patient admissions and discharge trend over the months in the data set? Now this particular question, let's break these questions into two, right? We'll be using line charts for this. So this is the line chart. Let me position it here. Okay, and then the admission date, right? We have admission date and admission month. Because this question, we are breaking it into two. We have admission month and then the discharge month. So the first one, the admission month, will go to the x-axis, and then the patient's ID will go to y-axis. The reason why you are using the patient's ID is that the patient's ID uniquely identify all the rows, right? So here it becomes very easy for us to count the number of patients. Okay, so we have it here. Okay, and let's do the same thing for the discharge. So here I can copy discharge and paste it. Then I'll position it somewhere here. Good. And then the admission month, I'll remove it and then put discharge month here. Good. Now let's format this chart. So I'll go to the demographics page, then I'll select any of this chart. So I've selected the third one. Then here, format painter, I'll select that one and then come to this page and then format it. Alright, click on the format and then to format it. Okay, so the same idea applies to this particular chart too. I'll select this one, then go to format painter, then I'll format it. Good. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. So the second question says that what is the average length of stay for patients based on their diagnosis and treatment type? Now, these particular questions, let's use metrics for this question. So here you select metrics and then the rules. Let's put diagnose on the rules, and then the columns to let's make it treatment type, and then the values will be the length of stay. So here length of stay, we will change it. You click on the, by default it's on sum, so sum of length of stay. The question say that average, so we have to change it to average. So we select this drop down sign here and then we select the average. And now we have changed it to average. Now let's format this particular cell, this particular chart. So I will select it. I'll select this, the metrics chart. Then I'll go to format your visuals. Then I'll go to values. So values here, I'll increase the values. I'll increase the values to 16. And here we have rows and column, right? So these are the rows, which is diagnosed, and the treatment is what is in the column form. Okay, so here let's increase the font size too. So here you go to the columns and then we increase the column font to, let's say 17, and then let's make it bold. Good. And then go to the rows too, that's the rows headers, then that one to increase the font to 15. Good. Let's resize it. So let's make it this way. Okay, and then let me position it here. Okay. And let's format this particular metrics too. So I'll select this chart. So let me position the size, the chart somewhere here. Let me bring this one down, then this one too, and bring it down here. Okay, and then here let's give it a title. Let's title here. So here I'll click on the text box and then let me position the text box here. So inside the text box, then I'll type the section name, which is the admission and discharge trend. Okay, so here let me increase the font size to 24. Good. Then let me reshape it. Okay, so let's move to the next question. That's the last question. That outcome analysis. So under the outcome analysis too, we have 3 questions here. The first one says that what are the outcome for different diagnoses? Now this question, let's use the stack column chart. So the diagnose will go to the x-axis, and then count of patient ID will go to y-axis, and then the outcome will go to the legend. Good. Okay, so let's format this chart too. So let's go to the admission, and then let me select this one, go to the formatted paint, come back to the outcome analysis page, and then I'll format it. Good. Let me position it here, somewhere here. Now let's go to the next question. How do outcomes vary by age group and gender? This question, let's use the clustered bar chart. Let me position it here, and then the age group will go to the x-axis, the patient's ID will go to the and then the outcome will go to the legend. Okay, so it has left with the gender. So the gender, let's create a filter, right? A filter to filter the gender. So here on the filters section, we have filter on this page, right? So this filter on this page is where we will put our gender to, right? So here you select this chart, and then you drag the gender and place it at what? Filter on this page. Now this filter on this page, now we have what? It has automatically give you the total number of what? Females and the total number of males. So when you click on the female, it will automatically what? Filter the chart on this particular page only. Now filter on all pages. It will filter all the pages, right? So for example, let's put a treatment type here. Okay, so now we have treatment type here. Okay, so let me clear this filter. So if I click on medication, it will filter it here. If I go to admission, see that it has also filtered it here, right? You can see it. So let me add observation here. Good. So if I come to demographics, it has also filtered it at the demographics, right? Okay, so if I want to clear the filter, I'll click on this clear filter to clear the filter. Okay, now let's move on to the last question under the outcome analysis. What is the average length of stay for each outcome? Now let's use stack bar chart for this question. So here the outcome will go to the y-axis, and then length of stay will go to the x-axis. So here let's change it to average. Okay, then let's format it. So here we have also added text to it. right? That's outcome analysis. Okay. Now let's create a new page and name it overview. So this is the overview page. Now in this overview page, we will create a KPIs and then navigators, right? A navigator bar, so that we can that navigator bar will help us to navigate through all these pages, right? So when you click on the navigator, it will take you to that particular page, right? Good. Okay, let's start. Okay, so let's give it a heading, right? Our dashboard, title of the dashboard. So you go to text box, then let me resize this one, and then let's give it a name: healthcare analysis. Okay, so I'll highlight it and then increase the font size to, let's say, 20. Now let me make it, let's say, 28. Good. And let me make it centered. Then I'll adjust this to, let's say, here. Okay, then let's work on this one. So here I'll select it and come to effect. There, click on the drop down, and then I'll change the background color to black. Then I'll adjust the transparency. Good. Adjust the transparency. Okay. Then here I wanted to add the organization logo here, right? So I'll go to insert, then picture, right? I'll click on the image, sorry, this image here, and then I have the organization logo here. I'll select it, click on OK. Then here I'll resize it. Then place it somewhere here. Okay, now this picture, let's make it in a way that when you click on this picture, it will take you to the organization website. Okay, so here I've opened the organization website here. So I'll copy the URL of this organization website and then come to the Power BI, right? So here I'll select the image, right, and come to action. Then the action, I'll on the action, and then we have the type, right? Action type. I'll click on this drop down and then select web URL. Good. Then the web URL, I'll paste it here. Alright, good. So this URL is the organization URL here, right? I copied it and then paste it here. Okay, now if I click on this logo, it will open the organization website for me, right? So let's try it. So here in Power BI desktop, here you press Ctrl and click. Okay, so now it's loading. Good. Now it has opened the organization website for me, right? Good. Okay, now let's add our navigators, right? So here I'll come to shapes, then I'll choose the rectangle. Good. Then here I will resize it. Let me expand it. So good. Then I'll come to general So I'll select it and come to star, the star, and then the field, I'll change it to black. Good. Then here I'll adjust the transparency. Okay, so now we have this here. Okay, now let's add one more thing to it. The title, let's give it a name. All right, so that's the navigator. So here we come to the title section and then we give it a name, navigator. Okay, so here we increase the font size, then we make it bold, and then we align center. Okay, so now we have it here. Okay, so one more thing, let's add the navigator buttons to it, right? So here I'll come to the button section, then I'll go to navigator page. Now the purpose of this navigator page is to help you navigate through the pages, right? So let's select the navigator page. Good. So by default we have it here, right? Good. This is the navigator page. Good. So now if I press Control click, see that it will take me to the demographics. Good. If I press Control click on the outcome analysis, it will take me there, right? Good. Now here let's resize it. Let's resize it and then let's position it here. Good. Now one thing you have to do is that you have to change the layout, right? So you select it, then you come to grid layout, then the orientation you change it to vertical. Good. So here now we can position it here. Good. Okay, so we have this now. One more thing, here in the overview page, we don't need this overview, right? So we have to off this overview. So here you come to pages, then you see show, right? So show, that's the show pages. You see show here, so they show you off this overview, right? Or any other page you don't need, you can off it. So you see that now we have what? We have off the overview page. Overview page is no more here. Okay. So let's resize it. Good. Let me position it somewhere here. Good. Then bring it down. Good. Okay. So let's add more formatting to it. So here let's go to the general. Now let's increase the font size, right? The font size in the navigator. So here we come to here, we have applying settings to state. We have default, right? So this is the default settings or the default font. So this here, you increase the font size to, let's say, 16, right? Good. And you will make it bold. Good. And then the alignment center. Good. So this is the font size. Now under the state, you click on this drop down, then you come to hover, right? The hover. So the hover is when you put the cursor on it, right? The display. So here you change it to red. Good. So here when you put the cursor on it, then it will change to what? It will change to red, right? Good. And then the next one is okay, so the press section, we will change it to blue, right? So anytime you press on it, the color will change to blue. Okay. Okay, so now let's start the KPI. So now we use this gauge chart, right? And then the purpose of this gauge chart is to show how a single value progress towards a goal, right? Good. So I'll select it, and then let me resize it small. Let me position it here, maybe somewhere here. Good. And then we use this gauge chart to for the length of stay, right? So here we drag the length of stay to the value. Good. So this is the, see that sum of length of stay. Good. So the length of stay is what? That's 914. Good. Now here we are looking for average, right? Let's make it average length of stay. So here you change it to average. So if you click on this and then you go to average. Good. Now the average length of stay is what? Is 9.14. Good. Then you also drag the same thing to the same length of stay to the minimum section. Good. And here too you have to okay, so this is the gauge. Good. The gauge chart. Now here the gauge chart the value itself is the average of length of stay, right? So you click on here, then change it to average. Then we have the minimum value of length. Now the minimum value of length is 1, right? It's here 1. So let me zoom in. The minimum value is 1, and then the maximum value value is 19, right? Good. And then the average length of stay is what? Is 9.14. Okay, so now let's start our DAX function. So let's go to the table view and then create a measure, right? And the purpose of this measure is to count the number of rows here, right? Good. So here we click on new measure, then we give it a name. So let's say count of patient. Good. Count of patients. So that's the measure name. And let's start with the function. So you see that count, and what are we counting? So here we can take any of the column, right? So here let's take maybe ID, right? ID. So count admission. The admission is the what? Is the table name, and then the patient's ID. The patient's ID is the column name, which is the patient's ID here. Good. And then you close it. Then press enter. Good. Now we have created our measure. Okay. So let's display the measure. So we use the card to display the measure. So we go to the report view, and then report view we select card. Good. So let me resize this card somewhere here. Good. Then here I'll drag the count of patient ID into this field. Good. Now we have what? We have 100 patients, right? Good. So here we can format it, right? So here let's go to the format your visual, and then you can off the label, the categorical label. So this is the categorical label. If you don't like this format or this title, you can off it here, right? And you can go to the call out value to increase the font size. Good. Or maybe you can position it somewhere here, and you can give your own title, right? You can own the title here, and then you type your own title, right? So you can see that maybe number of patients. Good. Number of patients. Then we increase the font size. You can make it bold, and then you change the font itself. So let's take it to the font. Good. Georgia, right? Good. Can resize it, and then also let's reduce it. Good. Then let's position it well. Good. Okay. Then we can change the background color to, let's say, blue, and then adjust the transparency. Okay, good. So this is our first function, which is this one. Okay, now let's move on to the next function. Okay, so the purpose of this function is to help you count the number of meals patient, right? Good. Now let's create our second measure, but for the best practice, right, we will create a folder and group all our measures in that folder, right? Good. So here, let's go to the model view, and then here the property section, we scroll down to display folder, right? Good. And make sure that count of patient measure has been selected. Good. So you select it, then you come to display folder, then you type measure. It can be any name, right? So let's give it a name. That's the name of the folder, measure folder. Good. Okay, so this is the folder, right? The measure folder, and then the count of patients is in. Okay, so let's go to the table view, and here we will create a new measure. Now the new measure we are coming to create, we wanted to create it inside this folder, right? So here when we go to when we click on new measure, the measure will create outside the folder, right? And we don't want it in that way. We want it to be in the same folder. So here we come to the measure folder, and these three dots here, you click on it, then we select new measure, right? This new measure will create the measure inside the folder. Okay, so let's click on new measure. Okay, see that now we have the measure here, right? So let's give the measure name. Okay, so now here we are using the calculated function, right? So the calculated function will calculate all the count rows, right? So here we have the name of our measure is meal count equals calculated, right? Then open parenthesis. Inside that parenthesis, then you put count rows. What table are you counting the rows from? We are counting it from admission table, right? The inside admission table to what column are we counting? We are counting it from what? Gender. And the gender, what specific variable are we counting? We are counting what? Male, right? All the males, right? Okay. Then here you can press enter or can press this sign. Okay. Good. And then we have it here, right? We have it in the same folder. Okay, so now let's display the count of male. So we go to the report view. Here, let's copy this card and then copy and paste, and let's position it here. Okay, good. And then here we come to the field. We will close the field here, and then we drag count of male inside. Good. So here we have what? 40 males, right? Good. The title is still number of patient, right? So here we go to the format your visual, general, title, and here we clean, we clean the patient and type males, number of males, right? Good. Now we have it here. Good. The same idea applies to the females, right? Good. So we go back to the table view, and then here the same idea, but let me copy this because the function will be the same. The only difference is that the measure name and then the variable male here we change it to female, right? So I'll copy this, copy, and then create a new measure. Right, so new measure. Good. And here I'll paste it, and then here I'll change it to, I'll change the name to females. Good. And here too I will change it to females. Right, good. We have female here. Then I'll press enter to create a new measure for me. Good. Now we have the measure here. Okay, so here go to the report view, to the same idea. We copy this and then we paste it. Good. Let me position it here, somewhere here. Good. Then I'll close it. Then I'll drag females to this field. Then I'll go to the title to change it to females. Good. Then we have it here nicely. Okay. Now our next measure is we want the average length of stay for only males. Average length of stay for only males, right? Good. Average length of stay for only males, right? Good. So here you click on this three dots, create a new measure. Okay, good. And then we write the function here. Good. Now this is the function for average length of what? Of female. So here we have the function name here. We have the function name here, and then the average length, right? Yeah, from this is the average length column. So this is the column. Good. This is the average length column, right? This is the average length column. Good. Right. Okay. And then the gender column, and we are doing it for only females. Right. Good. And anytime this double quote is here because of we are dealing with string, right, or text. If it is a number, there is no need for you to bring the whole this double quote here. Okay. Now let's go to our report view, and then let's display that. So here you select it, Control C, Control V to copy and paste. Let's position it here. Good. And then the field section, we will remove the female count and you put the average length here. Good. So average length of male is what? Is 8.63, right? So let's go to the format your visual, general, title, and then let's change it to the title to average length of stay for meal. Okay, now we have it here. Okay, now let's format our gauge. So we select it, then go to format your visual. Good. So here let's go to the general, and then the title, let's make it bold, then let's position it well. Good. Okay, so I think it's okay. Then let's go to the effect, and then the color, let's change it. The background color, let's change it to black. Then let's adjust it. Yes. Okay. And here let's add some filters to it, right? Let's add filters here, or slices, right? So you come to the slicer. Good. Select the slicer here. Let's position it somewhere here. Good. And then let's add diagonals right here. Good. Now we have all the diagonals. When you take the flue, good. So this is the number of patients for flue 13, right? We have male is 4 and females is 19. The average length of stay for males is 6, and then this is the average length of the total stay for the flue, right? 7.15, right? You can check the whole thing here. You can also check for diabetes, right? The diabetes to the average length, the total average length is 9.36, and then the average length for males is 9.29. Males, females is 15, and males are 7, right? And the total is 22, right? Good. Okay, let's add another slicer. Good. So here, this slicer, let me drag gender into this slicer. Good. So this is the gender slicer. Okay, good. And this gender slicer, let's change the layout, right? So let's go to format your visual, and then the slicer settings, let's change it to title. Good. Let's change it to title. So let me position it somewhere here. Bring this one down. Good. Let me bring this one here. Okay, good. So here, when you click on here, the males, good. The total average length for females is 10.07, right? Good. This one is based on heart attack, right? So here I filtered this to heart attack. So I wanted to know the heart attack for females, right? Good. Okay. So that's how the whole thing works, right? Good. So this one gives you the summary of the whole data before you can check the sections one after the other, right? Okay, so here, if you click control, if you press control click, it will take you to this demographics. If you want to go back, you have this arrow sign here. You control click, then it will take you back, right? The same thing, outcome analysis, control click, it will take you here, and then control click on this arrow, it will take you back to the overview, right? Good. And this arrow sign is here, right? you select this arrow sign here, then you go to this arrow sign. So let me show you how I brought this arrow sign. Good. So this arrow sign, you go to insert and you see buttons, right? So we have the left arrow sign here, you select it. Good. And here you resize it. Okay, you resize it. Good. Then we come to action, the action settings, right? Then the type, you change it to a navigator page. Good. So through navigator page, the destination, where you want this arrow to go, right? The destination, click on the drop down, then you select. We have all the pages here, right? So here I select the overview in such a way that when you click on this, it will take you to the overview. Okay. Okay, so let's also format this gender, right? The gender slicer. You select it, then you go to format your visuals, and here you can add title or whatever you wanted to do. But here I wanted to add shadows to it, right? Good. And then the same thing applies to this one. Good. Okay, so here we have the flow here. I don't want it in this way, the diagnose filter. So here I'll go back to the slicer settings and then change it to vertical. Good. Now we can add templates, you can add themes, right? We have themes here, we can add, right? Different themes you can add here. So here I can select this one. You see that everything has changed, right? Good. Or you can add it like this way. This is also, it's not nice. You can change it the way you want it to be, right? Good. Let me go back. So we have the demographics. Click on demographics. This demographics section, I can choose this theme here. Good. So this is the demographic theme, right? Okay, it has been applied to all the themes here, right, including this. So if this is okay for you, then you maintain the themes, right? Good. As for me, I don't think this is cool, so let me change it to maybe this one. Okay, this one is good. Okay, good. So I think this theme is okay. Alright. Okay, so let me position this somewhere here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's create our our last DAX function. Now the purpose of this DAX function is to show you how you can create a new table from the existing table we have, right? So the table we have is admission, right? You wanted to create a new table from this, or extract some of the data here into a new table, right? Good. Now we have admission month, right? We have this admission month now, and inside this admission month we have various months: April, February, January, March, and May, right? Now we wanted to create a new table that will contain only only May, right? A new table that will contain only May in it, right? So here we have extracted the May from from this admission table, right? Good. Now if you want to create a new table, you go to home, click on home, then you go to a new table, right? Click on new table here. Now this is the new table, right? The new table we have. Good. So now we have to give it a name. Good. Now this is the name of the new table, right? Filter admission, filtered admission month, right? So here you filter the mail, right, into a new table. Okay, so we use the filter function, right? So the filters function, inside the filters function, you specify the table we wanted to extract, right? So this is the admission table, followed by the month you wanted to work with, which is the admission month, equals the filter, which is your May, right? Then here you commit, click on enter or click on this commit. Good. Now we have what we have extracted the May, right? So it comes with all the columns, right? When you check the admission month here, click on the drop down. We only have what one month, which is May. Okay, and here we have two tables here. We have the admission and then we have the filtered admission month, right? Good. So here we have extracted the filter admission month from the admission table. Okay, so here we can go to the model view, right? Good. So now we check the model view now. Now we have what we have two tables here, right? Good. This is the admission and this is the filtered admission month. Okay, so here we will talk more about this model view.